Hey everybody, David Shapiro here for a video. So today we are going to do AutoMuse Blogger. So rather than generating long format fiction, we're going to generate blog posts. Now, before we get started, I have to warn you that one, this use case, if you were to try and just do this and put it directly online, that is against OpenAI's policies. So don't do this. This is for research purposes only. Now, that being said, you are allowed, as far as I know, you are allowed to use AI to generate content as long as you then put human eyes on it to like edit it, clean it up, make sure that it's safe. And then also, I think part of the EULA requires that you say this was written by AI, I think. Obviously, check with OpenAI before going live on any apps that do this kind of thing. But that being said, lots and lots of folks have wanted blogs, and I've just had this churning in the back of my head. So we will take a stab at this. Now, also, I posted a poll on YouTube, and the results were overwhelming. Y'all want to have fewer videos, but higher quality videos. It was overwhelming. So stay tuned. This is going to be my first one where I'll do some editing after the fact, and we'll go from there, because I've also got the chapters, right? I figured out how to automatically do chapters with GPT-3. All right, so all that out of the way, let's get started. First, when I'm starting a project like this, what I've started doing is kind of brainstorming, getting my thoughts out, because then I have a template to follow. Oftentimes you see me rely on intuition, and intuition is good and it works much of the time, but not always. And plus, it's also not something that I can just tell you, like, use your intuition. So let's actually do a process. So what we're going to do is just brainstorm, okay, what do we think this is actually going to do? So first, we're going to say, take a prompt of some sort, natural language instructions like, I want a blog about X. Brainstorm the structure of the request. So if you just ask instruct series to write, it'll start writing it. I mean, GPT-3, generative pre-trained model, it's generative. It will write. But one thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't necessarily think about structure. And so given whatever the input is, let's think about the best way to do it. So like, let's see, like maybe list a bunch of sections. And then what we can do is we can probably iterate on that list to improve it. Like, is this a good list? Oops. Okay, so then once we have a list of sections, then we can say, okay, what after we have the sections, then do we just start writing, or do we do some research? Probably we'll do some research. Let's see. Brainstorm some interesting, like some facts or points to include for each section. Yeah, and then let's see. And also, we're gonna keep this in mind the whole time, right? So let's just bold that. Okay, so then we got some lists and points, and then we actually want to write the thing. Okay, so then we'll write the actual sections, and then 6, iterate, improve the sections, and then done. And done. Okay, so that's where we'll start. I'm not going to dive into automatically pulling from external sources for this one. For this, we're going to start with something simple, because GPT-3 already knows a lot. But perhaps in a future version or a different kind of thing, I might explore like an automatic knowledge graph builder, because that's something I've wanted to do anyways. But for the sake of this one, we're just going to assume that GPT-3 already has the information built embedded in it somewhere, because it's already read a lot of news and Reddit and Wikipedia and stuff. So the topic that I was going to do was going to be Shinto in Japan, because I'm reading a book about Japanese history and culture. So it's something that I happen to know a little bit about, and of course, like, GPT-3 has already read all of Wikipedia on all of these things, so I'm going to assume that it has enough knowledge to do this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the playground, and we will say, so basically we're going to start with some prompt engineering. I'll say, let's see, write a blog outline, write a killer blog outline for the following request from a customer. Okay. Request. I want a cool blog post about the history of Shinto and Torii gates in Japan. Like, I'm basically adopting the persona of like a surfer bro. How did they come up with that idea? What does it mean? And let's see, and what are the coolest ones to see? I'm going to Japan next summer because I'm a weeb. Sorry. I have a bunch of friends who are, what is it? Cinephile would be China. What do you call it if someone is like, an actual term if someone is obsessed with Japan? They're into anime and stuff. I used to be in high school. My high school girlfriend got me into anime, and I was into it for like 10 years, and then I kind of like got over it. I'm still a nerd. I'm not trying to defend that. Okay. Write a killer blog about outline for the following request from a customer. All right, so the request is this. Okay, so now brainstorm a list of sections for this blog post. Each section, let's see. The outline should meet the customer's requests, and each section should be, let's see, highly descriptive. Provide a paragraph explaining what should go into each section. Okay, so then we'll do sections, and we'll start with one. So one thing that I do, you'll notice often that I'll do caps lock for these things. What that does, it's very similar to what it does for humans. So for humans, it draws your eye to it, where you're like, okay, cool, this is like a thing that I need to pay attention to. But also, it's a different set of tokens. It's represented differently inside of GPT-3, which allows it to kind of notice, oh, this isn't just the word request. This is capital R request. Okay, so let's just let this run. Let's turn the token count up to 1,000. And then it starts writing it. Okay, I don't want you to actually start writing it. So this isn't so good. I want to actually give me like, yeah, not just a table of contents, but like describe each section. So this is one thing that's really infuriating about the Instruct series, is that if you can tell if it was trained to do something like what you're asking it to do, because it'll do it really well. But if it wasn't, it will just give you a table of contents and then start writing a thing. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if I confused it. Let's see. All right. Because, like, what is Shinto? There we go. How to incorporate Torii gates into your Japan trip. That's not so bad. Okay, so I confused it when I said like add a paragraph, because then it's like, okay, let's write out all these things, and then yeah. All right, let's run this a couple times just to make sure that it's going to give me consistent behavior. The significance of Torii gates, the different types of Torii gates, the most famous Torii gates in Japan. Okay, I think we're off to a good start. So let's copy this as our first prompt. Okay, so we'll do request, and then we'll do that. So this, we've got prompt. So this is going to be sections. So let's see, brainstorm the structure. take a list, a bunch of sections, iterate on that list to improve it. Is this a good list? Was I a good list? You were the best list. All right, so what I mean by this is lots of folks have started asking about like doing like having GPT-3 check itself to improve its own performance, and I find that it can work really well, not always. So let's take a stab at this. Let's copy this whole prompt out, just for posterity's sake. Okay, I brainstormed the following list of sections of a blog based on the customer's request. I need to brainstorm to see if there are any improvements I can make to this I guess outline. Yeah, that's the word. I know words. Okay, so then we'll copy the customer request, and then we'll do outline, and let's come back over here and copy that. All right, and so then we'll do brainstorm. Let's see, no, brainstorm some possible improvements. All right, let's see what it does. Yeah, it doesn't get it. Well, maybe it added a list. It added an item, how to visit Torii Gates. Oh, okay. Let's run that again, see if it gives us what is Shinto. Okay. Tips for seeing Torii Gates. So it did add a section. All right. I wonder what happens if we do this again. Okay. What happens if we just regurgitate this? Shinto festivals associated with Torii Gates. Look at that. Okay. So if we run this, I'm at the point in my career with GPT-3 where, like, if my intuition generates a prompt that behaves correctly the first time, I don't trust it. Because I'm like, wait a second. Is this an accident? So then we'll say outline. But basically, prompt improve outline. And we'll change the sections to outline, because for whatever reason, my brain did not helpfully supply the word outline. Because that's where you start when you're writing anything. Start an outline. Yeah, okay. So then we'll take... I keep leaning over because my microphone's a little bit in the way. So if the audio is a little bit worse, I apologize, but I want to not be leaning over the whole video. Okay. Let's just keep recycling this to see if it keeps improving. Frequently asked questions. I wonder if it's just going to keep adding sections, because this is actually doing a good job of, like, what can we do to add to this? So probably if it keeps going indefinitely. Okay, so now what we have done is it has converged. So what we can do is we'll just keep rerunning this until we get convergence, which means that the input is the same as the output. Okay, so yep, so that's good. And what am I doing? All right, so improve outline. Let's see, keep it in editor. No, because I named it wrong. So we've got the outline, and then we've got improve outline, and that's good. Okay. Yes. I wonder, will it break if I give it a number 1? That might prompt it to ensure that it will... Oh, additional resources. Okay. So one thing that you can do is you can kind of give it a clue as to what you want it to look like. And so that's what you do here, where I have this. This is just, it's a clue. It says, give me a numbered list, right? I don't have to tell it to give me a numbered list. I just give it a little tiny breadcrumb to say, give me a numbered list. So I might do the same here, just so that way, because sometimes you might end up with something where it's like, hey, I'm going to come up with a completely new idea. But if you tell it what you want implicitly or explicitly, so this is an implicit request of the machine. So this might break it. We'll have to, after we run it, we might have to come back to this. Okay, let's go here. Okay, request. All right, and then I think it's time to start coding, actually. Because what I like to do is, before I get too far, actually no. Well, let me take a look at the README. How far do we want to go? Okay, so we got the iteration, so we're already halfway done. Brainstorm some facts or points to include for each section. Okay, so let's try this then. Let's try our hand at yada yada yada. I wish I hadn't closed those other ones. Okay, so given let's see, I have the following blog request to write. I am focusing on writing one section at a time. Let's see, I need to brainstorm, no, I need to jot down some notes about each section before I proceed. No, not each section, this section. This section before I proceed. Okay. Section. So then we'll just say, what is Shinto? And then we'll say, let's see. Here are my research notes on this section. I need to write everything I know about this. And let's see what it does. Okay. Here are my, let's see what happens if we say detailed research notes. There we go. Much better. Yep. Issei Grand Shrine. God of the Sun Goddess Amaterasu. Okay. This is all in line with what I'm reading in my book. So it looks like it has, this is actually one that I'm not sure. I haven't read about that in the book. But anyways, so it does look like it's being accurate. Although I wish this was a little bit more, I like that it seemed like it produced a little bit more when it was a list. So let's see if we give it a clue. Yeah. Shinto is the largest with over 100 million followers, located in the city of Ise. First, and then if we do this again, see, but this isn't everything that you know, right? Like I said, I asked for detailed research notes. I need to write everything I know, and it gives me 6 bullet points. Really? Really? Okay, that's fine. But one thing that's interesting is it seems like Shinto means the way of the gods. It almost seems like I can just run it a few times and it will give me different outputs each time. So maybe for this section we just run it a couple times. Actually, this seems like it's working okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Alright, so probably what we'll do is just break the sections down, and then we will we'll run this where we're asking for notes on each section, we'll run it a couple times to kind of get a little bit more out of the machine. That seems like it's working okay-ish. Okay, so then we'll do request, and then we'll do section, and then we'll just leave this open-ended, so it might produce a paragraph, it might produce a list. Okay, so we'll do prompt research. Actually here, we'll do section research. And so what this is doing, just to take a step back and tell you, like, okay, what is this actually doing? So one misconception that people have is whether or not GPT-3 is pulling from a database or searching the internet or what. How is it doing all this? And so all this information is embedded in the neural network. And so what we're doing is we're writing a prompt to pull that information out of the neural network. And so this works in a similar fashion to how human brains work, in that all of our knowledge and memories is implicit in the array of connections in our brain. And so with the right input, and sometimes the input can come from inside of our own brains, like if you're sitting there thinking like, I need to think about everything I know about Japan, you can kind of, trace the dots, you can connect the dots and get, kind of pull out memories from your own brain. And we're doing the same thing here. We're breaking apart that cognitive process of, okay, let me think through about everything that I know about this. And so that's what we're doing deliberately. Okay, so we got this section. Brainstorm some facts or things to include. Let's see, we'll just repeat this like 2 or 3x times. And so then what we'll do is, this is actually working better than I thought. Okay, so we'll copy out some of this information and run it a couple times. Estimated 4 million followers. See, that's something where it's like 100 million and now there's 4 million. Like, okay. So we don't know if it's accurate, but this could also be a benefit of running it a few times. Yeah. Whoops. What just happened? How did I do that? Current editor. There we go. Okay, so that's 3 iterations. Let's go for 4. Because it seems like if you get 4, were first codified in the 8th century CE. According to the book I'm reading, that is not true. Japan didn't have written language until after the 4th century AD CE. So it couldn't have been codified. And it's saying 4 million again. So we will do fact checking in another video. Okay. All right. I have compiled research notes. I have compiled the following research notes. I need to rewrite these notes into a long professional blog post. It must be engaging and interesting. And so then we'll do research, and then we'll do engaging blog post. And so basically all I'm going to do is take each of those sections, do some research, some internal brainstorming research, and then we'll generate a post on each of those sections. Go. Now, one thing is that it will tend to do is it'll have these like little like sign-offs, right? And it's like, okay, I don't want that, but we might have to deal with that. Okay, anyways, we can probably fix that at the end, actually. So let's go ahead and just copy this out. Okay. So we'll do research, and then engaging blog post. And so this will be prompt. This will be section prose. So we're actually producing a final product at this point. Yeah, I think we're almost done. Because then we got the actual sections, iterate and improve. Ah, okay. So yeah, I like that. So if we take this, we might need a second. Okay, yeah, this will actually work out well. I think I've got it all saved here. Yeah, okay. So then we'll just copy this here. I wonder what will happen if I just say, like, let's see, I need to rewrite the notes into a long professional blog post. It must be engaging. I have the first draft of the post. Now I need to improve on it. Okay, so then we'll say first draft. Oh, hang on, my dog's barking. I gotta go see what he's barking at. Okay, sorry about that. All right, yes, so first draft, and then we'll just add some new lines and do second draft. And you see, like, this is getting long, but one, we've broken it down into sections, so we don't have to write the whole blog post at once. And you see, it's only 1,000 tokens, so we're only at a quarter of our maximum. Okay. Look at this. Shinto beliefs and practices were first brought to Japan by Chinese immigrants? I don't know that that's accurate. But we see that this has gotten a little bit better. It's definitely integrating a little bit more of the information. Whether or not this information is factually accurate is different. So in a future version, what I'll do is show you how to integrate from a corpus of facts of like other information rather than just relying on confabulation and neural recall. So this, when you ask GPT-3 to just barf out a bunch of facts, that's called neural recall, and it can be pretty accurate, but it can also be crazy wrong. Okay, so let's see what happens if we just do this iteration a couple more times. So it's just, whoops. Oh, it's just jumping down. Okay. It's actually making it shorter. Oh no. It clarified it a little bit. Okay. Okay, so this seems like it works okay. So let's add this as a so we'll do section, second draft, and then we'll do this as research. Add a double new line there just to make it nice and consistent. And then we'll prompt, prose, actually do prompt improve prose. And then we'll just stitch it all together, and that's all programmatic. Okay, default temperature to 7, the tokens to 1,000, because that's what we want. All right. Let's see. Well, first we need the topic. Okay, so topic equals open file, and we'll do topic.text. So I will save that here. So we'll save topic.text. It is. All right, so we get the topic. And then the first thing we do is outline it, and then we improve the outline. Okay. I've got too many tabs open. Let me close some of these. No, don't close that one. Cancel. Abort. Okay. And then we'll say, let's see, outline equals, yeah. Here, I'll just do this the messy way. I can work on cleaning it up and making it more efficient later. I have coffee and I'm not drinking it. What the heck is wrong with me? Topic. Okay, so now we're gonna do build the outline. Prompt equals open file. So this was, see, this is why I need to keep at least the prompts open. All right, so prompt outline, and then it'll be prompt improve outline, and then section research, which we'll just run a few times. Prompt improve prose. Okay, and then prose. Okay, cool. So the outline we only run once. So we'll do prompt outline dot text, and then we'll do dot replace topic, or no, I guess it was request. Yeah. So just to keep things consistent, we'll do request. Because the worst thing you can do for yourself is use multiple names for the same variable. It's very confusing. I do not recommend that. Yeah. All right, sorry, I'm having to lean away from my microphone again, and it's throwing off my whole keyboard situation. As someone who writes, it's like there's this flow connection, and you can't hear it because I've got the like noise cancellation, but I use a mechanical keyboard. So you're welcome for that, for using the thing. I use NVIDIA Broadcast, which is really helpful. Okay, so we're replacing it request with the request. That should be good. And then we'll do outline equals, and we'll do 1 plus, and we're going to remove that. And then we'll do plus GPT-3 completion prompt. Okay, and then for debug, we'll just print the outline, and we'll run this to make sure that it works. Python generate, whoops, cd automuse blogger Python generate request.txt. Right, because I changed the file name in here, but it didn't read my mind and change the file name out here. Okay, try that again. Okay, cool. So that worked. That looks good. All right, so then what did I do? I did, see, this is why you write down what your plan is. Open the README back up. Okay, so we got that. Iterate on the list. That's right, we did this about 4 times. Okay, so then we'll say for I in list range 0, 4, we're going to do outline equals improve outline. And then we'll pass it the request and the outline. And so basically this is the easiest way to do a recursive thing. So we'll do def improve outline, and we're going to have the request and the outline passed in. And so then we're just going to use this prompt. So we say prompt equals open file prompt improve outline.text. And so what you're seeing here, this is the most basic form of recursive programming with GPT-3, where you feed the output into the same function several times. So dot replace request with request, and then dot replace outline with outline. Make sure that I use the right terminology. Yes, outline is there. Brainstorm some possible improvements. Okay, and then we'll copy the same outline one dot. And so the reason that you have to include this is because the prompt already has that. See, if you don't have that, then the first one will not have its numbered list. And that it's bad form and it doesn't look good. And then we'll do return outline. Okay, so then we will, actually, for debug purposes, I'll just leave all this. So do new line, outline, and then we'll do improved outline. Okay. Now let's test this real quick. What is Shinto? Tips for visiting. Facts. Okay, so it is reliably recreating what we wanted, and then it converged, and then it blew it up. Curse you. Okay. Yeah, it didn't. It randomly nuked it. Okay, let's have fewer iterations, because if you try your luck, it will eventually break. The coolest torii gates in Japan, different types of torii gates. Okay, so doing one initial iteration and then 3 iterations seems to be good. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Cool. So actually, it can be kind of fun to leave the debug output, so I'll probably just leave that there so that when you're running it, you can see what it's doing. Okay, now we consult the scriptures. We got the good list. Brainstorm some facts or points for each one. Yes. Okay, so then section research. Yes, okay. So sections equal outline.splitlines. So now the sections list, we can iterate on this a few times. But we're actually zeroing in on the final product. So let me think of how to do this. Because do we want to write it one section at a time? I think we do. Yeah, because the way that it breaks down now is we do the research on the section, we do the prose on the section, and then we stitch it all together. We improve the prose, and then we have the final product. Okay, so we'll do final blog equals. So we'll do that. Okay, so for section in sections. So we're gonna take each section and just write the whole thing. We might have a final step where we kind of like clean up the whole blog. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let me go ahead and add that note so I don't forget. Iterate through the sections and done. Lies. Let's see. Clean up the final product. Yes. Okay, so for section in sections, first is hashtag research. Sorry, I need to drink this coffee. Hashtag research. Okay. Yes. So we'll say research equals that, and then let's see, how many times did we do this? I think we did it like 3 or 4 times. So we'll do the same thing that we did here. So for I in list range, we'll say result equals research topic. Actually, no, here, we'll call it neural recall because that's a more accurate thing as to what we're doing. So the neural recall is, yeah, so we need to pass the request and the section. Requests, section, and there will be some redundancy, but that's fine. That's why we added the 7th step to clean up the final product, to just, let's rewrite the whole thing to be one nice, consistent blog post. Okay. So result equals neural recall. Def neural recall. This is the nerdier version of total recall. Request, extra points if, well, I guess they made a remake of that. But the original Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger came out when I was much younger. I was alive when it came out. Some of my viewers are older than me. Many of them are younger. So if you raise your hand, give me a thumbs up or a comment in the section in the comments below if you remember the original Total Recall. Okay, neural recall. What is it that we're doing? This is basically just another prompt. Prompt equals open file prompt section research.text, and then we do .replace. Yes. What were the sections that I had in here? Request and section, right? These two. See, that is where you do yourself a favor if you have variables that are very simple and straightforward and make sense. And then replace section with section. Okay. And then we do, let's see, notes equal GPT-3 completion prompt, and then return notes. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, oh, you can just do return this. There's nothing wrong with that, but I got out of the habit of doing that because every now and then you'll want to do some little like post-processing, like notes equals notes dot replace, that with that. Depending on the kind of format you're looking for. So I just got out of the habit of returning the function result directly, and capturing the results in a variable and then passing the variable back. It's either or. You can do whatever you want. It saves you a line of code, but okay, a line of code, who cares? To me, it's not really worth saving. Okay, so then research equals research plus, let's see, that's going to have no new line, so we'll do plus new line, $S, and then we'll do $result. Yes, okay, so the research will be done, so research equals research.strip, which that will remove any superfluous white space from the ends. So now we've got the research. Yes, so we'll run the research a couple times. We've done the research, and then we take the research and write the blog post. Okay, so do first draft, not draft 5. Okay, this should be as straightforward as prompt equals prompt section, no. What am I doing? Good grief. Open file. Prompt section prose.text, and do replace research with research. So there's a couple things happening here. So there's prompt chaining, which is where you've got prompt. So that's prompt chaining, but then we're also doing iterative loops. So we're doing recursive loops inside of the prompt chain. So this is pretty advanced, but this is just the same process that a human goes through when writing a thing. You brainstorm the structure, you gather all the facts, then you write the prose, and then you iterate on the prose and make it better. Now I need to improve on it. I wonder if it would be good if we gave it some descriptions, like we need to make it more engaging, but whatever. Okay. prompt, open file. Okay, and so then we'll say prose equals GPT-3 completion prompt. There you have it. All right, so that's our first edition of the prose. And then we do the same thing here where we attach the research and the prose. This should actually probably, we'll change this to prose to keep it nice and consistent. And I think we did it, what, like 2 or 3 times before it started kind of going off the rails. So we'll do just 2 improvements of improving the prose. Okay, so prose equals improve prose. And so what did I have in here? We have the research and the prose. Research and prose. So we just improve itself. So recursive programming, for kiddies who don't know, you could not do this where you pass a variable, where you assign a variable and pass it at the same time. This is a newer thing. Back in the days of Pascal and C++, what you would have to do, you'd have to declare something like prose2 equals prose, and then you'd say prose equals prose2. It's silly, but now you don't have to do that anymore. Now you can just call it directly, and it's just a single step. Okay, so the improve prose is going to be the same as improve outline with mild difference. So we'll do improve prose, and instead of request and outline, it's research and prose. So we'll do improve prose, research, oops, uppercase, and prose. Oh, whoops. Gotta replace both. Lowercase, and then prose. Uppercase. And then we don't need that. And so then we also change the name back to prose and prose. Okay, so then we call improve prose, we just call it a handful of times, and we end up with a better set of prose. And actually what we'll do is we'll declare the final blog as a list. And so then we'll do final blog.append prose. So that'll be a list of sections that we can keep them separate so that we can give them headers, and also we can continue to improve them separately if we want. Are we done? Hold on. This is what happens to me. I get so focused on what I'm doing that it's just like, wait, that's the end, right? I know there is one last thing, but I want to see how this looks before we do the final step, which is this one, clean up the final product. Okay, so let's give some, whoops, let's come back here. Let's get some output as we go. So we'll print new line, research. Yeah, so we'll do, first we'll print new line, section. Use that variable, right? Yep. So then we do the section, and then we do research, because we need something to look at while we're doing this. And we'll do print new line prose, and then we'll just copy this down here, and then it'll be appended. And so then finally, here at the end of all things, we will just do, here, we'll do from pprint import pprint. So this is pretty print. So we'll do pretty print final blog. And this is just for debug. Okay, so I need to zoom out a little bit because this is enormous. Well, no, let's see how it looks. Okay, generate a blog, end to end. History of Shinto. Improved outline. Predictions for the future of the religion. That's cool. Heck yeah. And then Oh wow, that got real long. So we're gonna have 10 sections. Do 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 do. We'll probably like accelerate this. Oops, it crashed. Recirc is not defined. What do you mean I did a typo? Let's see, this is line 87. Oops. Right here. Dang. So close, but this is why you test your code. All right, let's do this again. All right, I am gonna make it a little smaller because this is outputting quite a bit. So we'll go down to 24. There. How to build a Torii gate. There we go. Oh, we've got... Yeah, we've got the double new lines. So for the final outline, outline equals outline dot replace, and we'll do double new line with just single new line, because we're going to end up with, yeah, okay, but this is all right. So far so good. Cool, cool, cool. And then the section has nothing. Yeah, darn it. Darn it! And it puts out nothing. We'll just let it finish and see what happens. There are about 80,000 Shinto shrines. There's all of our research, so that's good. Welcome to my blog about Shinto. Okay, cool. So this is going to iterate through each of these sections for a little while. I think I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and we'll see, because you get the idea. We don't need to read this. So we'll pause the video, we'll come back once it's done. It worked, mostly. It produced a lot of content, I'll put it that way. Now, unfortunately, this was just a test run, so we've got all this. So let's just get all this out to a text file. And so I added this while we were waiting, where it'll actually save it out to file, because I should have done that. And I'll probably separate out so that we'll clean up the blog afterwards. But first, let's just see what we've got. So let's do a find and replace the single quotes with nothing. Replace all. And then we'll replace \n with nothing. Actually, no, this will be normal find and replace. So that cleans that up. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That is, yeah, there's a lot. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we've got, it's 21,000 characters long. So clearly this is like, yeah, this is quite a bit. I think what I'm going to do, because that's well, how many tokens is this? Let's plug this into 5,000 tokens. So we want it to be maybe half that, maybe not quite as long. So what we'll do is we'll do just a little bit less research and a little bit less brainstorming. So hopefully that will make it a little bit more reasonable, because what I'd like to be able to do is to do the final cleanup in one window, and we can't do that right now. Okay, so we've got this. I've got it so that it'll save it out to file. I wish that I had done this the first time, but what we're going to do is we're going to choose an entirely different topic, because I tested it on one topic. So I want a blog post about the history of the printing press. I'd like to know how it influenced religion, politics, and war throughout history and up through the modern age. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. Generate blog, and then we'll come back with a brand new blog, and then we will get into the process of improving a blog automatically. Why is it doing nothing? Did it not do any research? Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause it, and we'll come back in just a second. Okay, we have a blog post about the printing press. And I think I actually lied. I think I'm going to call it here because this is actually not bad. And improving an existing document is worth its own project. So I think what's going to come after this is I'll have one video or a project about pulling from external sources, like how to search and automatically compile sources, because that has applications all over the place, such as automated research, for like academia, not just writing blogs, and then automatically improving stuff at basically being an editor is a whole other function. So we will call this a day. Git status, git add, git commit am, all done, and git push. So so there's a blog post out here. It is now 10,000 characters long, which means that it should fit into a single window. So you could, in theory, ask GPT-3, hey, take this blog post and rewrite it if you want to. I'm not going to worry about it because, this video is already plenty long, and you now have an end-to-end process of prompt chaining and recursive prompting in order to generate, be very generative and make something better. Remember, use this responsibly. I am not responsible if you use this to do something unethical. This is on you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and consider supporting me on Patreon. Have a good day.